Dylan Respects says trade back, draft O-line, take Mitch or Cam, money. That's pretty much, I think, what I would do. But the thing is, when I don't know the draft that well, I'm just starting to get into the mock drafts because the Niners season's essentially over. What I see is an offensive tackle from Oregon, who's everyone projects to be the 3rd, 4th, 5th pick in the draft. And then I don't see any tackles after that in round 1.
Yeah, and you can take an offensive lineman out of need, but how many of those guys really work out? Like Philly took Andre Dillard late. He hasn't really been that. Like last year was the year because everybody said all 4 of those guys were going to be studs. And
Can't miss.
Thomas, until before yesterday, after the firing of Mark Colombo, he hadn't given up pressure. And then yesterday, Hassan Reddick kind of worked him. But prior to yesterday, he was playing really well since Mark Colombo.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Fired.
Yeah.
Right. And Jedrick Wills has been an absolute stud. Wirfs has been very good, and he should be in the offensive player, rookie of the year conversation. And Mekhi Becton is a very big positive for the Jets. Last year was the draft for the offensive linemen. And the way the offensive linemen are coming out of college, you're not just going to have Jonathan Ogden and
they're rare. They're rare. That's why I can't believe they passed on it last year. I can't believe, but that's last year.
Right. I mean, I remember 2 great drafts where people said, man, the offensive line is serious. And besides 2018, everyone said Big Q and nobody else. But it was 2016, DeForest Buckner's draft. Everybody swore up and down that Ronnie Stanley and Larry Tunsil were going to be.
Hey, Stanley was good. Stanley is good. And Tunsil's pretty good, too.
Tunsil's excellent. They're both top 5 left tackles.
The way I look at it is Ronnie Stanley and Quentin Nelson got Mike McGlinchey drafted into the 1st round. Like, if those 2 guys hadn't existed, because when you look at Mike McGlinchey, you're like, whoa, dang, look at him, man. I mean, playing the same position that Ronnie Stanley played at the same spot. That's like, no, man, no.
Yeah, but
that happens a little bit in the NFL.
But besides that, 2017, do you remember? I mean, and then 2019, there was Jonah Williams, but people weren't like going gaga that Jonah Williams was going to be a star. Like,
true.
A 1st-round type offensive lineman, but people weren't even sure if he could play tackle in the NFL. So
what team is he on?
He's on Cincinnati.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Is he the one that got Joe Burrow hurt?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
He might have been, right?
They were like street guys to protect Joe Burrow.
Okay. We got one more question from Anthony, and then we'll get to our final topic. Anthony says, is it better to build O-line from the inside out or from the outside in? Good question, Anthony. What do you think, Bish?
Outside in.
No question.
You can protect your guards. There's a reason people don't draft guards besides Big Q in the 1st round. It's a luxury pick. And in the Niners' case, they value center more than other teams. That's why Kyle paid Alex Mack. That's why he paid Weston Richburg and stuff. But if you have 2 elite tackles, like look at the New Orleans Saints. You have Ryan Ramczyk and Terran Armstead, 2 guys that can block most pass rushers just out on an island, then you're not going to have a problem. I mean, the Colts kind of have it with Costanzo and Braden Smith. The Packers really had it with David Bakhtiari and Brian Bulaga, and look what the Niners defense still did to them. So
the Niners had it with Harbaugh,
Joe Staley, and Big Anthony Davis wasn't the best, but he was very good.
He was great for their run game, and as soon as his career fell apart in 2014, that team fell apart. It's really essential to have 2 quality tackles, and to me, the fact that the Niners didn't have that this year is a big reason that their luck didn't go their way. If Mike McGlinchey had been able to be the guy that they drafted him to be, this offense might have been pretty good, even without their starting quarterback. But he's a freaking liability, and you got it. So now, they'd like a new right guard. A new center would be great, but they got to go to right tackle first. And they talk about, well, we put him at right tackle because there's really no difference between left tackle and right tackle. Now, that was the excuse for not moving to left tackle. There's some truth to that. On the right side, you got to block Von Miller. You got to block a lot of Montez Sweat. Good players. And McGlinchey can't do it. Yeah, dude. So, and often by yourself, because a lot of these offenses are all about putting 5 eligibles into the pattern, and they don't want to leave a tight end there to help you, Mike McGlinchey. They want to get their players out into the pattern. So,
I mean, how many big 3rd downs? Like the Rams game 3rd down. Guess where George Kittle was on those 2 3rd and 16s? Nobody will remember because they converted them.
In the backfield. And same thing in the Super Bowl.
So he's your best player on your offense, and you're
can't happen
that route with Kendrick Bourne, Emmanuel Sanders, and Debo. So there's something to this.
Yes. And the thing about McGlinchey is like maybe he regressed this year, or maybe it's just that the Niners were playing from behind a lot and in more obvious passing situations, and he just got picked on.
Because we talked about this on the phone this morning. Like the thing with McGlinchey is that he's still a great run blocker, and two, his still here comment to an extent is valid, right? Like for the most part, he's kind of solid throughout the game. But here's where it gets exacerbated, and Grant pointed this out, and this is why he's right about this. It's because he gets when like this Philly game with CJ at quarterback yesterday with Nick and stuff. When the Niners quarterbacks have to drop back and it becomes obvious drop back, that's when he really gets exposed. And that's where those are the 5 still here plays. But the problem is that when you have a right tackle who can't really pass protect in the drop back pass game, and you get into game situations where you have to drop back and pass, it's a recipe for disaster.
How do you come from behind? I mean, if you're down 2 scores with 8 minutes left, you're not running the ball. You're just passing in no huddle offense as much as you can. And McGlinchey can't play that kind of football. The Niners didn't have to do that last year. They were in close games or they were winning. And so I guess his weaknesses weren't exposed. But how often are you going to have the ideal situation in football? You can't have a right tackle who's good when everything's going well and you're winning. You need a guy who can actually do what I'm sorry, Mike. I'm going to really get you this week, Mike. I hope it's coming. And I'm not going to put music behind it. It's not going to be funny. I'm going to show your 10 worst plays from this past game, and I'm going to explain to everyone what you're doing wrong. And then I'm going to ask at the end if you still want to play football, because I don't know watching you. I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you do. I want to know. And I'm going to show everyone how you just don't fight back. You don't fight back. Stand up for yourself, Mike. They're pushing you around. Don't let them bully you like that.
They spent a top 10 pick on him. If they didn't spend a top 10 pick on him, we wouldn't really be hammering him.
Nobody was just in school.
Blake and Tomlinson and Justin, not Justin School, Colton McKivitz and Daniel Brunskill, and all those guys have had moments that are equally bad. But you're a captain of this team. They spent a top 10 pick on you. That's why you're held to a different standard from those guys.